Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. First of all, to all of you who have subscribed and all of you who have commented to my video here or on Instagram, thank you very much. Yeah, I would like to talk about stuff that I added to the collection in January. Now, January is usually a slow month and there's not so many new releases, so I wasn't really planning to spend much money on vinyl. Now, George and the Bear is a great shop in Genk in Belgium, not so far from where I live. They have a great selection of new vinyl, but especially a fantastic stock of secondhand vinyl. They really know what collections to buy and at what price to sell them. You know, the prices are very fair. Conditions are mostly great of the records. So yeah, it's a great shop. You should visit them when you're in a neighborhood or check out their Instagram account, George and the Bear. So they posted this pic of a stock of original Parliament and Funkadelic records that they had purchased and were selling. So I was immediately interested. I went there, and the first album that caught my eye on the wall was, of course, this one, Parliament's Mothership Connection, a classic album of P-Funk and black music in general. It's from 1975 on the Casablanca label. This is a first is this the first pressing? I don't know. It could be not the first pressing, but a later reissue, maybe a German first pressing. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, a classic album. Look at that cover. For the cover alone, you know, P-Funk wants to get P-Funk. Sorry, wants to get funked up. Mothership Connection. The title track, of course. Give Up the Funk. Tear the Roof Off the Sucker. This is a classic album, and I'm really happy to add this to the collection. It's in great condition for a really great price, so I'm very happy with this one. And I was looking on the wall, and I saw that they had posted in the Instagram pic an album by the Brides of Funkenstein, but I didn't see it in the shop, and so I asked Mr. Critical, who is a fantastic DJ who works in that shop, for the Brides of Funkenstein, and he said, oh, no problem, we still have another copy. So yeah, I got this. Never Buy Texas from a Cowboy from the Brides of Funkenstein. A great album. The Brides were originally backing singers for Sly Stone, if I'm not mistaken, and then they transferred to the P-Funk universe and released a couple of albums produced by George Clinton, and this is great. The opening track, 15 minutes, is a P-Funk disco kind of odyssey, but has some great tracks like Smoke Signals, which is co-produced by Bootsy Collins. So I'm really happy. This has been on the wish list for quite a while. And sometimes you just want to wait and not buy it on Discogs and find it in a physical shop. So that's what I did. The Brides, in excellent condition. Also oh no, this is an original American pressing, so really happy with this one. Sounds great. And I was already happy with what I found, but Mr. Critical said, have you listened to this one? And I hadn't. And because it's from 1983, and you know, soul and funk in 1983 can be a bit hit and miss, you know, but I listened to this, and this is phenomenal. Urban Dance for Gorillas by the P-Funk All-Stars. This is a great album. I just listened to it before I recorded this video. It sounds amazing, has some great tracks. Generator Pop, Catch a Keeper, Pumping It Up, Copycat, which refers to Atomic Dog, George Clinton's hit from the previous year, and Hydraulic Pump, which is just madness. Great, phenomenal track from a great album. I'm really happy to add this to the collection. And speaking of Sly Stone, you know, with the Brides of Funkenstein, a couple of these tracks were co-produced with Sly Stone as well. So a great addition to the collection. Thank you, Mr. Critical, for recommending me this. Really happy with this P-Funk All-Stars album. Dance for Gorillas. I also found a great album by the Staple Singers. This is Be Altitude, Respect Yourself. A Stax Records classic, I think I can say. Respect Yourself is on there, which is phenomenal, of course. We the People, Who Do You Think You Are, and another classic single, I'll Take You There, which was, of course, sampled by Salt and Pepper for Let's Talk About Sex. So, great album by the Staple Singers on Stax Records with Mavis right here, 1972, I believe. Yeah, so in great condition. I really love this. Coincidentally, the day before I bought this, Norman Maslow talked about this in his, what's it called, Soul Final Tag 2024 video. So yeah, great addition to the collection as well. Very happy with this album. And the last one I found at George and the Bear shop is an album that I already have, but my original pressing was, the sleeve was not in great condition and the vinyl was noisy, and so I decided to buy this copy in excellent condition from 1981. This is the Jackson 5's 1974 album, Dancing Machine, so 50 years old this year. Classic tracks, Dancing Machine, of course, the title track, The Life of the Party, What You Don't Know, and the opener, I Am Love, which is 7 minutes of pure funk from the Jackson 5, classic Motown album. Yeah, it added to the collection again, but in great condition this time. So the day after that, I decided to go visit some shops in Brussels. One shop is called We Insist. Yeah, it's a book and record shop. I visited it once before, but the selection was good, but at that time there wasn't anything that really triggered me to buy it. So I passed by the window that day and it said all records 50% off. So I decided to check out and see what they had. And there was, amongst others, a crate of electronic music 12 inches with this white label. Now, of course, this doesn't say much, as you can see, but this was the paper that went with it. Titon Devante and Morgan Geist. Morgan Geist, one of my favorite producers. You may know him from Metro Area, that classic album. And this is a test pressing on Environ. It was only released on Environ as a test pressing, and on one other label, of which the name escapes me right now, but this is really hard to find. It was originally 60 euros in the shop, then priced down to 30, and now with 50% off, I only paid 15 euros for this. This is great. This is great. Electro from 1997 with some breakbeat elements in it. Great production from Titon Devante and Morgan Geist. Really happy to grab this. There were also a couple of crates with 10 euro records, which were now 5 euros, of course. And one that immediately caught my eye and I actually bought for the artwork alone is this one. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Great. Plus, it said the persuasive trombone. So I really like trombone as an instrument. I like the sound of it. And it was by Herbie Green and his orchestra, who I'm not familiar with, and released on Command Records. But this is a pressing on a French label, La Voix de son Maître, which is his master's voice. This is a French pressing, like I said, mono pressing from 1960. It wasn't listed on Discogs, so I had to enter it. I'm not a big specialist or a particular fan of big band jazz. I don't know much about it, but I listened to it and I really like this. This sounds good. It's a great album. Moonlight Serenade is on there. That's a track that I knew. The rest not so much, but I enjoy listening to it, and just for the artwork, I mean, if I ever put one album on the wall for the artwork, this might be it, because I really like this 60s, end of the 1950s design. Great album. Persuasive Trombone, Irby Green. On the Command label, in the same crate, was this soundtrack from the Pat Metheny group for The Falcon and the Snowman, which is a 1985 film with Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn. I probably saw this in the 1980s on VHS rental video, but I can't remember it. The soundtrack is okay. I don't like everything on it, but it is, of course, very famous for that one song, This Is Not America by David Bowie, which is a great track, and the melody runs like a theme through the rest of the soundtrack. So there are some good elements on it, but This Is Not America is definitely the highlight. David Bowie with the Pat Metheny group soundtrack. The Falcon and the Snowman. In the same bins, I also found an album which was a bit disappointing. However, Yarbrough and Peoples are, of course, most known for their hit single Don't Stop the Music, which is a great R&B boogie track with one of the best synth bass lines, in my opinion, of the 1980s and beyond. And I saw that Don't Stop the Music, the single, is featured here in a 7-minute version, so an extended version of that track, which doesn't disappoint. It is absolutely crazy that the rest of the album is produced by the very same people and is so, dare I say it, mediocre in places, and not really, just average disco R&B music from that period, 1980. But Don't Stop the Music is such a killer. So maybe when I find the 12-inch, and I will replace it and just, sell this album and keep the 12-inch. But in the meantime, 7-minute version of Don't Stop the Music is worth it. So yeah, Yarbrough and Peoples, a classic track. And then also an extended version is this 12-inch. This is Roadblock. Now, Roadblock is a single from Stock, Aitken and Waterman, the producers from, what's the name of that track? You Spin Me Around. Oh God, I can't think of the name of the band. With Peter Burns. And Stock, Aitken and Waterman went on to produce, it's like 100 top 10 singles for the likes of Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan and Rick Astley and Mel and Kim. But this is great. Roadblock by Stock, Aitken and Waterman in an 8-minute version. The 12-inch sounds very good. The bass sounds amazing on this one. And the story goes that they first released this as a white label, and they wanted to sell it like this rare groove thing from the 1970s that people wouldn't know where it came from. But the inner groove of the white labels all had PWL Studios printed or pressed in them. So they started scratching out all of them, but of course copies went out with the PWL stamp. So soon enough, the word spread that it was Stock, Aitken and Waterman. But anyway, Roadblock. I love this. I don't buy a lot of 12 inches anymore. But this is a great party tune and 8-minute version, and I wanted to hear it, and it sounds great on a 12-inch. So the shop, we insist, not only had used vinyl, they also had brand new vinyl. And I found this classic vinyl series Blue Note release of Big John Patton, Oh Baby. Now, I'm not familiar with John Patton. He's an organ player, and I'm not really a fan of the organ. It's not my favorite instrument, but I saw that Grant Green is on here, who is a phenomenal guitar player, and I really like his music. And this Grant Green's guitar really gives this album a very funky you know, feel to it, and I love it. This is great. I really enjoy this album from Big John Patton on Blue Note. It was like 10 euros instead of 20, so I thought, why not check it out? And happens that I like it, so that's good. After that shop, I went to a shop which I had heard a lot about, a lot of good things, and it doesn't disappoint. It really is a great shop. It is a Circle Story. It's in the same neighborhood in Brussels, only a couple blocks away from the other one. And speaking of Blue Note and Grand Green, they had a sealed copy there of a Blue Note Tone Poet series release from Grand Green. Also for a very cheap price. They normally go for like 70 euros or something. I paid only 30 for this. This is Grand Green with Herbie Hancock, with Billy Higgins. So a great release on Tone Poet with the usual fantastic gatefold photography for a cheap price. Another great addition to the Blue Note catalog. Grand Green. Feeling the spirit. Yes. And I was very happy in the same shop to find one that has been on my wish list for quite a while. It is When Love Is New from the fantastic Billy Paul. Billy Paul is a singer who released albums on the Philadelphia International label of Gamble and Huff. So his biggest hits were probably Me and Mrs. Jones and Am I Black Enough For You from the 360 Degrees album. But this album was on my wish list because it has the track Let the Dollar Circulate on it, which was sampled famously for Steve Spacek's Dollar track by Jay Dilla, who would have celebrated his 50th birthday this week. So the Dilla connection is there. This is a great album. I listened to the rest of it. People Power is fantastic. America, Mallory. The B-side has 3 ballads on them, written and produced by Gamble and Huff, which are in the typical Philadelphia International style. And Let's Make a Baby is my favorite. A great track to end this great album by Billy Paul. Highly recommended if you find this. This is really good. I haven't seen a lot of copies of this though, so I'm not sure if it's rare or not. I was very happy to find it anyway. So those were the second-hand releases. Like I said, January is a slow month for new releases, although there were a few. And also some of the end of last year that arrived in January. And to start off, this is Bloto, who is a Polish band who fuse jazz with hip-hop beats. This is their new single on a 7-inch. It looks like a punk single from the 1990s, but it's actually brand new. Great new track. The B-side has like techno beats infused with their jazz sound, so it's really experimental, but very nice. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the new album, which is coming out soon, I hope. Also on Astigmatic Records from Poland, and released at the end of last year, is this beautiful thing from Saikara. It's like jazz music played by a heavy rock band, so it's not for every time of the day, not for every mood, and not for everyone probably. But I like it, it's good. And as always, with Astigmatic Records, the first pressings come in this special artwork, and this time it's a die-cut sleeve, which you can pull out. Some great artwork. It has a poster, and the vinyl is also colored to match with the artwork. So yeah, check this out, listen to it on Bandcamp. But yeah, this is good. Astigmatic Records from Poland, a great label. And speaking of great labels, Albert's Favorites is one of my favorite labels, from England. This is their logo. Albert's Favorites. And this is an album that was also released at the end of last year. It's by a new artist on the label called Andis Phi. This is the sleeve. Artwork by the artist herself. Andis Phi makes a sort of ambient soul music with touches of trip hop and singer-songwriter. Yeah, it's really quite unique and doesn't really sound like anything else, so that's always interesting. Check out this album by Andis Phi on Albert's Favorites Records. I also went to see a concert in January in Antwerp by American rapper and poet No Name. This is her album from last year. It's called Sundial. It was a great show, a great album, a great show with a great band from a great album. This unfortunately only is released on her own website, so not distributed in Europe, but thanks to a great friend who has some great colleagues and friends in America, I was able to get this without paying postage and all the other stuff. So this is a great album, one of the highlights, hip-hop highlights anyway, of 2023. A very jazzy sound. One of the tracks is produced by Yusuf Days, so highly recommend it if you can grab this. Her first album, Telephone, is also repressed right now, so one of the highlights of 2023 arrived in January. No Name, Sundial. Great stuff, and a sound of hip-hop that you don't hear that often anymore. Very, very jazzy sounding, good stuff. One of the albums that has been getting a lot of praise in the last month is, of course, the album, the new one by The Smile. Great artwork, I love this. This is beautiful. I haven't decided yet if it's better than their debut or if their debut is still, you know, the best of the two, but there are some great songs on it. I really enjoyed listening to it already a couple of times. If you're not familiar with The Smile, it is of course the band of Tom York and Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead and Tom Skinner, who is a fantastic jazz drummer. And speaking of Tom Skinner, I saw him with his own band twice in 2023. And at the last gig, he sold some tapes, or at least he had one left of a live recording of his album Voices of Bishara, live in London, I think. But like I said, he only had one tape and I missed it. Somebody bought it before me. Fortunately, the label that releases his music in America, International Anthem, made some copies available on Bandcamp. So I had to grab this and add this to the cassette collection. So this is the tape, a live recording from Tom Skinner. The concerts were great, with a great band, so I'm sure this is going to be awesome as well. Staying in jazz, to start with some reissues. I'm going to go over the 30-minute mark again. I don't know I talk too much, I think. Anyway, glad you're still with me. If you have been watching jazz vinyl videos in the last couple of months, you will have heard about this. You probably already bought this if you're a fan of jazz music. But this is a fantastic recording from 1965, which has now been reissued by Sam Records from Paris, Sahib Shihab, and the Danish radio jazz group. A great recording from 1965. Highly, highly recommended. Grab one while they're still available, because this is a limited release. So this is very, very good. Very nice pressing, sounds great. 3 more to go. This was the Vinyl Me Please Classics album of the month for January, La Lupe. I wasn't familiar with her, with this artist. The Queen of Latin Soul is the name of the album. A great salsa Latin album from 19 68. A great album, again, with great artwork, and a fantastic press, and again, a great release from Vinyl Me Please, yet again. And this is probably already one of the must-have archival releases of 2024, although it's only January. But I think I can say that Roberta Flack's The Lost Stakes is one of the essential archival releases of 2024. Atlantic Records is celebrating its 75th birthday or 75th anniversary. Started last year, going on through 2024. But Giles Peterson and his Arc Records label are doing a special take on that in releasing a couple of albums curated by Giles Peterson himself, and this is highly recommended. This is absolutely fantastic. It has, amongst others, a great version of Afro Blue, which is one of my favorite tracks of all time. Great photography. The design is in line with her debut album First Take on Atlantic from 1967, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is beautiful soul music and vocal jazz. It walks on the thin line between jazz and soul, like Nina Simone does so well, and Roberta Flack does it here. This is great, highly recommended on Arc Records. Finally, and coincidentally, like my last video, I end with a Japanese record. This is a reissue of Hiroshi Yoshimura's Surround. I can say brilliant ambient album from 1985 from Japan. I was happy to get it on this special pressing from HHV in Germany. So this is a great album, highly recommended if you like ambient music. Yeah, this is really good. It was worth the wait. It was supposed to come out last year, but it only arrived in January. I highly recommend this album, Surround. Still available. So that was it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me. And I hope to see you soon. Bye. To all of you who have subscribed and all of you who have commented to my video,